大家好，我今天想录一个视频。Okay, hi, my name is Olajumoke, aka Naija Chinko. I recently wrote the Ielts exam and I did very well. Out of 9, the total band score of 9, I scored 8.5, which is very good. So I wanted to just do a short video about a few tips that would perhaps be useful. This is not going to be a teaching video of how to do this in the IELTS exam or how to do that. I'm just going to give pointers and recommendations that can be further explored, because there are so many teachers out there, there are so many YouTube videos out there, and so many teaching materials out there that can actually help anyone who is interested. And I'm going to recommend one YouTube channel that was very helpful, for me to familiarize myself with the test and settings, what to expect in the exam hall, what kind of questions they ask, and what the examiners are marking for. So I'm going to recommend that channel at the end of the video. Just one channel I'm going to recommend, because I really didn't do much. I didn't watch so many videos, but I found that that particular YouTube channel, if you actually spend time on that channel, it's worth it. You don't really, what are you looking for elsewhere? You don't need so many. Like I sampled a few lessons and I found this one that I'm going to recommend the most helpful. It's already 2 minutes and I've not even started. Okay, so I found this one the most beneficial, so I'm going to recommend them at the end of the video, because like I have right here, I have stuff that I've written down that I want to run through. So this is IELTS test tips video. Okay, so this is a video about the tips that I want to introduce. The first thing that I have written down here is understand what the examiners are grading. I think that is the most important thing, because if you're going to be scored, you need to know what you're going to be scored on, how to where to concentrate your efforts. You need to know what they are going to be taking seriously and what they are going to be marking down, because our goal is to get the most from the exam, as high a mark as possible. That's what we're trying to get. So the first thing I wrote here, understand what the examiners are grading. And so I think if you're going to be taking the IELTS test, that's the first thing you should look at. Ask Google, or if you follow these YouTubers that I'm going to be sharing at the end of the video, they will tell you for free what the examiners are going to be grading, and then you concentrate. For instance, let me give you an example. In your listening exam, you need to pay attention to details, like you're going to hear a lot of information. One word in that sentence is the key word. It could be an adjective, it could be a location word, it could be, I don't know, the position something is facing. It's just one word, and like you're hearing all this information, but you need to really focus and make sure that you're getting the details, because at the end of the day, you're going to need to fill in the gap based on what you've heard. And usually the missing word is something that is an additional detail. For example, they could be going on and on about, say, containers, and then they talk about a red cup. This is just a random example. It's just random. I'm just trying to explain. So the key, the key thing there is that out of all the containers, we're talking about a cup, and not just any cup, a red cup. Okay, so you could have traps like, okay, is it a yellow cup? Is it a blue cup? Is it a red bowl? No, it's not a red bowl and it's not a yellow cup. It is a red cup. So details like that, little details like that, matter in your listening exam. Speaking. An example of what examiners grade for is coherence, your vocabulary strength. Are you using basic words or is your English advanced? And one thing is, always be natural, okay, but use words, the meanings of which you know. Use words you're familiar with. I mean, many of us are already English speakers. If you're Nigerian or if you're from any other English-speaking country where English is your first language, then you already have an advantage. So just be yourself, be natural, and just let the words flow. They want to know that you're fluent, or at least you can communicate effectively in English. That's the aim of your speaking test. So don't use big words with meanings that don't fit. Let me give you one very good example. People use this a lot. They say something is bogus, right? And you know what they mean when they say bogus? Something big, they'll say it's bogus, but that's not the meaning of bogus. The meaning of bogus is fake. When you say something is bogus, you're saying that thing is fake. Okay? That's a bogus, I don't know, that's a bogus device or a bogus Twitter handle. It doesn't exist. It's a fake name. It's a fake identity. Something bogus is something fake. But because bogus maybe sounds like big something, I don't know, because of the B and G in that word, people conflate the meaning and they feel bogus means big. So if you use bogus as big in your Ielts speaking test, it's a big vocabulary, it's a high-end vocabulary, but you've misused it, and so that would be a no-no. So my point is, use words that you're familiar with and use them appropriately. Speak freely, let the language flow, let the English flow out of you. Don't just give okay, they ask you, so do you believe in friendship? Maybe they ask you something like that, and then you're like, yes, I believe in friendship. And then you're waiting for the next question. Now, do you believe in friendship? Of course I believe in friendship. In fact, I think friendship is this, friendship is that. We all need friendship because blah, 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 blah. In fact, let me even tell you a story about something that was really profound, and one of the most profound quotes I've heard on friendship. You need to expound. You need to expound. Don't just, you need to, I think here is the key. You need to go above and beyond. Okay? When they ask you something, let them be the one to tell you,
oh, that's fine, thank you so much, that's fine.
You've spoken, they are satisfied. Now they go to the next one. Don't let it be awkward, like, what are your views on unity? What does unity mean to you? And then you're like, unity means when things are united, when things are harmonious. And then you're like, okay. And then you feel like you've finished. No, you need to go further and say, oh, when I hear the word unity, I think about this, I think about that. It speaks of a scenario where blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah are blah, blah, blah. And then you use that opportunity to flex your adjectives, synonyms, give examples. Before they even ask you, you're already giving examples. It's already 10 minutes and I'm still in understand what the examiners are grading. It is well. So that's enough for speaking. Let me go to the next one. For writing, an example of what examiners grade. I mean, you could research further on this. I'm just giving examples. Spelling, tenses. they're grading, you need to make sure your spellings are on point. If you're not sure how a word is spelled, just think of a synonym and switch it to something you're sure of. So they grade for spelling, they grade for tenses. Should you be using past tense here, or present tense, or future tense? Are you familiar switching between tenses? Those are some of the things that they grade for. Then one thing I know that I did, I don't know, nobody told me much about this, but when I was writing, because I'm an author, right? Presently, I've authored 5 books. So I write. Writing is something that comes naturally to me. And if you don't stop me, I can go on and on. Okay, so when we had I think, was it 150 word limit for one of the essays, I gave them over 200 words, like 256 or thereabouts. I went way beyond the word limit. And when we had a 250 word limit, I did over 400 words. Yeah. At the time that I wrote the exam, I didn't know what how it was going to work out. I didn't know if the word limits would be, I don't know if they would say I did too much. But at the end of the day, when I saw my results, I felt, okay, those things might have actually contributed to the score that I had. And so that's why I'm putting it out there. It worked for me anyway. So, and then for when they ask you to write about something fictional, say they give you a scenario that your friend is coming over for dinner, for example, but you want to convince your friend that you guys should eat out at your favorite restaurant, and they tell you, okay, these are the things we want you to address. The restaurant in question, something about your friend or whatever. They always give you pointers. Always, when they give you pointers, make sure that you address each of those things they mentioned in different paragraphs. For example, they may tell you, let us know about your friend, let us know about the restaurant, let us know about your experience. So that's 3 pointers. Take 3 paragraphs and attend to each of those points one after the other. But that's by the way. What I was going to say is, when you're writing a fictional piece or an essay that are of a make-believe thing that happened, be interesting, be creative. For my Ielts exam, the written aspect, I was asked to write about a favorite restaurant in another city. I'm well traveled, but I could not really think about any particular restaurant that was my favorite restaurant at the time. Sometimes when you're under pressure and there's a time limit, things might not really be coming to your head, and this is where you need to improvise. So I came up with a fictional restaurant name. I just made it up. It doesn't exist. I don't think it does. It's supposed to be in Italy, and I just made up an Italian restaurant name, and then I started writing imaginatively. I wrote about the ambience, I wrote about the hosts, I wrote about the cuisine. That's another thing, cuisine. I could have said cooking, but I said cuisine. Those are some of the things that up your score when you use high-end vocabulary. Instead of, say, talking about general school stuff, you can say academics, academia. That's like elevated language for school or studies. You see, instead of saying cooking or food, you say cuisine, culinary, stuff like that, elevated vocabulary. I digress once again. But yeah, I had to come up with a fictional restaurant in Italy and write a believable story about my friend and our dining experience and all that. Be interesting. When I was done writing, I loved the story, and I knew it was fictional, but I'm like, I wonder what the examiner would think about this story. I mean, I wish I could save it, just for me to read again. I love writing. So my point is, if you yourself you're finding that what you're writing is interesting, chances are the other party is going to do so as well. Then for letters, use the appropriate salutations. For formal letters, know how to begin and how to end. Same for informal letters. For opinion pieces, like debating the pros and cons of something, speak to both sides of the argument. Speak to both sides of the argument. On the one hand, this. On the other hand, this. Then make good use of paragraphs. Use one paragraph to attend to one thing. Use another paragraph to attend to another thing. Then use all these introduction words, conjunctions, and words like because, and words like nevertheless, regardless. Those are words that help make your sentences longer and give that feel of, oh, you're in control of this language. You know how to link ideas together. I'm saying a whole lot, but when you watch the videos on that other YouTube channel where they teach you actually how to write the Ielts, you will understand what I'm saying better. This is just like me just talking, sharing about the little things I can remember that may have made a big difference and helped me to get such an impressive score. But basically, I just give examples of little things that matter, like exceeding the word limit, exceeding expectations, coherence, be understandable. If nothing is coming to mind, even when you're in your speaking exam, I can't believe it's 17 minutes already. When you're in your speaking exam and they hit you with a question, and it's something that you're supposed to share an experience, and you don't have that experience, make it up. It's okay to be creative. All they want you to do is speak. They're not even trying to know your private life. They don't really care about your friends. They don't really need to know your real family names, and they don't need to know your relatives. They don't need to know all that. They just want you to talk, just for you to use your vocabulary, speak, and let them hear you speak. That's all they need. Just be creative and just speak. See yourself as, as a novelist that is just telling a story. And don't just get stuck and be like, oh, but I don't have that experience. Open your mouth and talk. That's what they want to hear. That's a very important point. What else do I want to tell you? So before the exam, make sure that you experiment with words. Think about a word and think about an elevated way of saying it, like a higher way of saying it, like the examples I gave you before. Look at bigger vocabulary and try and enrich your vocabulary. Look at synonyms, different ways to say the same thing, different words that mean the same thing, so that you don't repeat the same words over and over. Another very important thing, for you to have an idea what the Ielts is like, take a mock test or 2 mock tests, just to have a feel of it. Like, how is it like? What kind of questions do they ask? How much time do I have? A mock test will help you prepare. So I think I did about 2 mock tests when I was preparing. I did one with that YouTube channel I'm going to share with you, and I did another one with an app I downloaded on my phone. And basically, so I knew where my strength was and where I had a little difficulty. I knew from the mock test that I needed to spend some time practicing all those things that were kind of difficult. Like, I noticed I got the answer wrong when I was scoring myself at the end of the mock test. So it's very important for you to do a test to know what you need to focus your energy on and which one is going to be easier for you to handle, so that you can you can manage your time better. On exam day, what are my tips for exam day? Not much. Focus. Okay, just when the exam starts, make sure you're fully invested in the exam. Don't try to look to your right or to your left to see what the other people are doing. Is this person feeling cold because the AC was is this person feeling cold? Are they answering the questions fast, or are they taking? Is it difficult for them? Don't try and be looking around and trying to assess other people around you. Like, what is this person doing? What's that person doing? Are they getting it? Are they finding it challenging? Like, just focus on your screen. I did a computer-based test. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend computer-based tests. I found it very, very, very good. Very, very, very good. There's this video I did with IDP where I shared my experience writing the Ielts, and I will. Should I link it behind this video? This video is already long. I don't know, but I'll share it somehow. Either I put it up, like link it to this video, like immediately after you're done watching me sharing these tips, then you see that video, or I share it as a different video. Either ways, what was I saying? Focus is very important. Just focus and do what you have to do, and make sure that you pay attention to details. What else? Okay, what test center did I use? This is not an advert, okay? Even the video I did was for Ielts, was my testimonial, but I have to I'm somebody who takes customer service very important, and I've been in different situations where I knew things could have been done better and they weren't. And so when I see a place where they get it right, I want to give kudos to them. Okay, I used IDP, the test institution. They are the ones I used for my IELTS test. I know you have options, and I don't know how the other one is, but I used IDP, and I didn't even go to their headquarters for my test. I did my test at Anthony, which is like just one of their locations, right? So if they even wanted to compromise on quality, they could say, oh, this is not the headquarters, but they did not compromise on quality. My test day, I was really, really impressed by the way the staff were professional. I was impressed. I was proud to be a Nigerian. I was impressed. What to expect on test day. One thing I was worried about initially, because you know how when you go for exams, you're like, go put your bag outside, and if you don't have a car, you're like, where do I put my bag? Who do I leave my bag with? They have, for IDP, they have like lockers, the kind that you have in banks, where you can put your stuff, so you don't have to worry about that, where to put your bag. They have good restrooms, and before the test, they'll give you a test prep. They will show you what to expect. If you're taking the computer-based test, I can only speak for computer-based tests. I didn't do the paper-based. They would show you like a mini presentation of what your screen would look like when you go inside, for those that have not had a mock test, and what to expect, and then they would advise and encourage everyone to use the restroom before starting the exam. Because once you start the exam, you can use the restroom, but they'll have to like do security checks all over again each time you leave the exam hall, which I find very ideal and very professional. There's a biometrics registration where you thumbprint. Those are 3 things I think you should know. And then so the test center that I used was really good. They were very professional. I've said that like 20 times, right? Anyway, I think I've said enough. Computer-based test, I highly recommend it, because I am used to using computers. I work a 9-to-5 job, and I use computers every day. I'm a fast typer, so I find it easy to navigate with your mouse and your keyboard. I mean, I find it easier. So if you're like me, you can definitely consider using a computer. And another thing is handwriting. Some people do not have legible handwritings, and that could count against you when you're writing. The person marking your script might not know what you have written because of the way you link your letters or whatever, and that could be a problem. So, but if you type, everybody can see the letters. It's clear, and if you're a fast typer, that means you can even exceed the word limit and your hands will not be aching you. And then for computer-based tests, 3 to 5 days your result is out. I really don't know why you should. I can't give you any reason why you should not do computer-based tests, but whatever works for anyone is what they should do. That's what worked for me. So we've come to the end of my video. I took 28 minutes to tell you just a one-page. I don't know why do I talk so much. I hope you were able to find one or two things helpful, enlightening, and the YouTube I was going to tell you about, it's time for me to do that now. The channel is called E2 Ielts. Just search for E2 Ielts. My favorite teacher on that platform, his name is Jay. Okay, I love the way he explains. Jay, that's his name. There are several good teachers. I heard others speak, but Jay was my favorite, and he really gave me a lot of insights. I knew what I had to do, especially when I was writing, and they have so many tips that can help. Please, if I could recommend one channel, it is that channel, E2 Ielts. They are the best in my books. They are the best. Thank you for watching. 谢谢大家。我希望你们能够找到你们想要的。That was unnecessary, but thank you for watching. My test experience was quite seamless. The IDP team, but they did a very professional job. The environment was conducive. The facilitators were very professional. We knew what to expect. We got in there and everything was already set up, your name tags and everything. It was a really good experience actually. There was no tension as much. To prepare for the IELTS test, I did a couple of tests online to try to see how I fared, what my strengths were, if any, what my weaknesses were, if any. And also I looked for what the examiners would be considering. For people considering taking IELTS on computer, I think it's a good decision. You should go for it. I honestly think it would help. And let me tell you why. For instance, I alluded to writing out your answers, maybe for the written exam. Imagine you having to cancel, erase, your handwriting might not be so legible. I think it is really good for you to consider, especially if you're comfortable around computers. I think the software is quite good and you would find it very, very convenient.